Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the paddock from the Macau Guia race Kumo TCR World Tour race of Macau. Ahead of qualification and with Frederick Vallen from Cyan Link & Co Racing. Frederick, qualifying, this is an important one for the team. How's preparation been so far?
Well, it's a super important one. I mean, we need to qualify ahead of both Huffy and Norby, so it's going to be a big challenge. We did some good testing yesterday, so hopefully we'll be there in the top, but it's really tight and it's a super demanding track, so it will be tough.
As you say, this is a big one in particular for Jan. How's his confidence in the car been this weekend? Is he dialed into the circuit? Is he feeling good about the challenge that's ahead?
Yeah, he's really on it, I must say. I'm super impressed. I mean, he's 40 kilos heavier due to what we did in Bathurst, so he has a challenge ahead, but he has really been on it from the lap one and being able to challenge the Hyundai, so I'm really looking forward for this one.
Now, of course, it's not been a stress-free practice session for you guys. Ma had some contact in practice with the barrier. Is the car okay? Is he in a good position for this qualification?
Yeah, you never wish for someone to go in the barrier for sure, but the team did a good job. The car is mint, so we will be good for now, and we have 4 cars aiming for the top.
And of course, qualifying, there's always a danger of interruptions and stoppages. Is the strategy to get out there, get a banker lap in and cover off any issues that may occur later on with the others?
Yeah, I think looking at other sessions, you really need to go out and just stay out trying to do your laps, because red flag will come. And like you say, it could be a long red flag, so yeah, go out and just set a time. That's super important.
Frederick, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. So let's get into qualifications. We head back to our commentary teams.
So then, the drivers about to be released onto the circuit for the first part of qualifying. David Addison and Alan Hyde are trackside. The teams are in the pit lane ready to go, and there are plenty of fans around a rather blustery Guia circuit looking forward to what's going to be a really good session. Not only does it determine the grid, of course, it also is the first point-scoring element of the weekend, because the top 6 at the end of qualifying will garner points. So we come into this with Rob Huff and Jan Aleshe tied on points, and Norby Mikulic 1 point back, but it could all be rather different come the end of the second part of qualifying. It's going to be 20 minutes, then a 5-minute break, and then the top 12 go into Q2 for 10 minutes. And this is how we stand in the championship. 3 drivers covered by a point, Alan. It couldn't be better.
It couldn't be any better. The last thing you really want to do if you are not an expert at Macau is to come to Macau for the final round of any championship. Rob Huff is an absolute expert. He claimed his World Touring Car title here in 2012, having had a quite superlative weekend. He's had many of those around the Guia circuit here at Macau. Let's see what he can deal up for us this weekend around Macau, because he absolutely loves this place.
He does indeed, and there's another driver that enjoys it here, Gabriele Tarquini, with Thiago Montero, overseeing Hyundai's operation these days. Gabriele, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. It wouldn't feel right to be in this paddock without Gabriele Tarquini doing something. I mean, he raced so competitively for so many years, and you did end up wondering, how long is he going to do this? Is he going to do this forever? But there's always a role for a Gabriele. Huge amount of experience, a wealth of experience, a great guy, great character, great motivator for teams, and a really almost like touring car royalty in the paddock here at Macau.
Now this is going to be a very, very important session, and we've already seen from the earlier TCR China drivers' travails just how difficult it has been today to keep off the wall. Track temperature much cooler than yesterday, so we were rather putting it down to the fact that the other touring car championship drivers were expecting the circuit to behave in a way that it wasn't, and I wonder how many of these drivers might be caught out in a similar vein.
Yeah, it is much cooler, 20 degrees this afternoon, very blustery. chilly. Took a while for the track temperature to get up from this morning. It was 16 degrees when we got on-track activity underway, and would you believe that was at 8 o'clock this morning with motorcycles, their first qualifying session this morning. Had you fancy going out on a chilly track at 8 o'clock in the morning on a very, very powerful racing bike? Well, they did, and there were, I think, only one stoppage during the session. We've got a green flag now for the touring cars, so TCR cars on the circuit. They will be racing this weekend for the Macau Guia race, and qualifying gets underway.
So they go out in the order set at the end of FP2 yesterday, and I think we're looking really for 3 stints, probably a couple of flying laps, then a new set of tyres, go and try again, maybe Q2 just a couple of stints, but the pressure is on.
Certainly is, and as they weave the cars from side to side, we say so often when they're going around the Guia circuit, in whichever category, you have to make it count. You have to make it count early on. None so true as when we get this qualifying session underway. Looking at Rob Huff, the expert here at Macau, and such happy memories. It feels like just a couple of years ago that he claimed his World Touring Car title here at Macau. The celebration, the joy, the celebration at the dinner, the awards presentation in the evening, and then on to a bit of a party. And Rob explained to us it was tinged with disappointment, of course, that he claimed the title. That great camera angle.
Yes.
Look at the mechanics working on these TCR cars. Never seen a camera angle quite like that. Superb. There is sponsorship opportunity on that machinery, and a great camera angle that we've got over the course of this weekend. But Rob said it was tinged with disappointment because they knew that, of course, the Chevrolet project was coming to an end in World Touring Cars, and he claimed his title, celebrated for a little while, and then thought, right, okay, what next? Well, he's filled his years. He's done some racing at the very top tier of World Touring Car racing, and will continue to do so. Even had an outing last year in the BTCC, and is making no secrets of the fact that he'd quite like to do that. He's based back in the UK, having lived for 7 years in Dubai, done a lot of his racing over in China and around this region of the world, but now he's back in the UK. The BTCC might be a nice way to do it. Unfortunately, Rob, the BTCC doesn't come to Macau.
No. Although this championship next year, the World Tour, is going to get an FIA badge on it. It is going to have a proper European round, and it is going to be perhaps at the next stage. So I'm sure if there's a deal to be done, Rob wouldn't object to doing the World Tour again. It's taking the drivers to some fantastic places this year, not only Bathurst and Macau, but also the old Eastern Creek, now Sydney Motorsports Park. They've been to South America as well as Europe, so it's a good calendar. And here with the maximum 40 kilos of success weight, which is based on qualifying performances aboard, Yann Lachey, and he's hustling on to start a flying lap.
From a real motor racing family. Mum did well here in the Macau Grand Prix many years ago. Uncle Ivan has done rather well in a whole variety of touring cars, be it in the BTCC or the World Touring Car Championship. So a very, very motor racing orientated family.
Although Dad was a footballer.
Dad was a footballer, yeah.
Mum was 5th in the Macau Grand Prix, by the way, 1983. The first Formula 3 year. Kathy Muller, his mum, was a very handy racer. Right, so that's Lisboa, and Yann Lachey is on a mission. The fascination for the championship isn't just the 3 drivers, it's also 3 different cars, isn't it? You've got a Lincoln Co, an Audi, and a Hyundai being represented in that title fight.
Yes, we have, and the job of bringing the cars up to temperature has now been completed. This is the first of the laps that need to count, and around the right-hander at on the tight and hilly section of the course. So the left-hander with the wall there. Look how close the barriers are. These are normal roads around Macau. On board with a touring car, it all feels slightly different, doesn't it?
Yes. Indeed.
Quite a peculiar feeling when I arrived here in Macau, sort of a week ago, and all of a sudden the taxi was driving down the start-finish line, and they were testing the lights. Got a great photograph, just in time.
Well, right now, Yann Lachey is trying to put in his first run, and he's going the right way about it, although Mikael Ashken are a bit further back in the queue, is going even faster. So with Mikael Askner yesterday having been very, very good across free practice, but Norbert Mikelic even better in FP2, and a 2:29 is the kind of benchmark time we'll be looking for. El Haché now comes up towards the Malco hairpin, brakes hard, brakes late, turns into that very, very tight right, flicks the back of the car round. He's got Rob Huff riding shotgun behind him, then Mikael Askner and Norbert Mikelic, Nestor Girolami and Fred Verviche. So this first 30-minute period with the clock ticking on down, and Jan El Haché is about to offer up the benchmark time, isn't he?
Certainly is. Mikelic has just gone quickest in sector 4. Girolami has gone overall quickest in sector 1. Askner has gone quickest overall in sectors 2 and 3. Jan El Haché, we look at to be the first time to come up with the target time for everybody else to aim for, 2:29.347. That one's in the book. What does Rob Huff do on his completion? 2:31.647. And Askner, goes second with a 2:28.905. Norbert Mikelic goes to the top of the times, a 2:28.753. So that's the first of the flying laps. Touring cars on circuit earlier on today had a very, very difficult session. Multiple stoppages for the Chinese Touring Car Championship. And we keep our fingers crossed that with a few of the local drivers taking part in the Guia race this weekend, that this is going to run according to plan.
I think the driving standards are probably at a higher level, in fairness, more experience, and these drivers have to cope with some pretty daunting circuits. Spa also on the calendar this year, and as you say, Norbert Mikelic is the fastest. Now you're riding with him and he's gone quicker than anybody, even so now in the first section of the next lap. So the first one was good, and this was looking even better, but there's a bit of traffic up the road. So does Mikelic press on, or does he bail out of the lap? Let's see. Still going for it.
Certainly is still going for it. Norbert Mikelic is top of the times at the moment. Has gone overall quickest in sector 1 on this lap.
I know we've been talking in the context of F3, Alan, about how, and to a lesser degree GT, about people returning to Macau, and of course you kind of get used to the fact, because the World Touring Car Championship, then WTCR, had been here, but actually not since 2019. So there are quite a few drivers on this grid that may not have been here or have got to dial themselves back in, and it's a big ask.
It's true, it is a big ask, and with the huge amount of experience here at Macau for the likes of Rob Huff, Norbert Mikelic has got good experience here, Jan El Haché has got a little experience here, Marcin Hua, who ended up not having the best of day ones here at Macau yesterday, is another hugely experienced driver from this area of the world, this part of the world. Ted Bjork has got good experience here. Lo Si Ho is another driver, but there are plenty of others that don't have so much experience. You're absolutely right, because for the last time we came here, 2019, to now, that's a good period of time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for quite a few drivers trying to remind themselves what the place is like, others still learning about it. Jan El Haché right up against the wall then as he comes out of the last corner of the Ardennes, goes across the line, should go top, and the answer is he does not, because he was slower in sectors 4 and 5. So he stays third fastest. Huffy goes by and he's only 5th. So maybe at the end of the next lap you can anticipate people to come in for a new set of boots. Mikael Askner is now fastest, 2:28.7. But having said all of that, at the moment the aim is not necessarily to be the outright fastest, it's to be in the top 12.
Yeah, that's the aim for now. So Askner goes top, Mikelic second, Marcin Hua, that's better, isn't it? Third for the 155 car, 2:29.260. That's more where we would expect Marcin Hua to be.
So now we start to look at who else is within that top 12. So it's Askner, Mikelic, Ma, El Haché, Girolami, Huff, Verviche, Urrutia, Björk, Lo Si Ho, then Ben Baguana and John Filippi. Ben Baguana stopped that Teddy Claret-built Peugeot yesterday when the water temperatures went sky high. That is John Filippi, and behind him another of the extras for the weekend, Marco Butti, the Italian driver, and his Hyundai is right on the back of the Compte Audi.
Going down into the right-hander at Lisboa, tight on the exit, little puff of smoke from the back of the car on the run down towards San Francisco, the right-hander that takes them up towards the San Francisco hill. The twists and turns start now as they mount the rise through past the hospital on the left-hand side into Maternity. The right-hander at Maternity will come up, leading them down to the left-hander at Teddy Ip with the wall on the left-hand side. change of direction in these cars is so notable on this tight and twisty section of the car. You can see the cars that are really neatly set up for the twisty sections, and then always, I guess, around the Guia circuit here at Macau, a compromise between the two parts of the circuit, because they do have that incredibly quick run down from the Macau hairpin, down through Black Sands, Fisherman's, R Bend, down towards Mandarin and Lisboa, and then this tight and twisty section, which is Police, the right-hander, and then the right-hander at Moorish. They turn in now. That's claimed a few touring cars from the World Championships over the years.
Marco Butti looking like he's being held up a little bit by Gianfilippi. You get the feeling that if he could find a way by, he'd be able to get on with the job and go a little bit faster. Gianfilippi coming there now down towards the Macau hairpin. He came into the World Touring Car Championship back in 2014, so Macau experience for him. Second in this year's European Championship to Tom Coronel, who had entered but then withdrew, which is a real shame.
It is, yeah. He's a big character to have around. He's a very experienced driver as well. So, yeah, bit of disappointment there. We've got a world-class field here, though. And with Rob Huff coming into pit lane, I think this is what we expected from this first section of qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah, and these two have backed off as well. So, quick pit stop, new set of tyres, and then a second run. Might even get a third run, actually, but we'll see how people approach this. But we've gone further than the Chinese Touring Car Championship was able to do. Drama 3, and a new set of Kunos to go on Mikael Ashkena's car that is the fastest. There is Lo Se-ho, one of the drivers that qualified by being in the top 8 on points in the 2 TCR Asia races last week. Lo Se-ho is a very quick driver around here. He's in the top 10 as well. So he's, if you like, the best of the interlopers. You've got 9 of the regulars, and then Lo Se-ho rounding out the top 10. Ergo, he's at the moment in that top 12 for the shootout for the Q2.
Norbert Mikulits is currently second at 2:28.7 and gets a new set of tyres down in pit lane. The team's working to turn the cars around as quickly as possible.
So that's the Lincoln Co. There is an extra Lincoln Co, which is the fancy run car of Yan Chuang, that again qualified out of TCR Asia from last week. Well, those are the works cars, the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co 03 FL TCRs. Trips off the tongue.
It does. You did well.
The ComTU team, the Belgian squad that's operated out, is in touring cars and GT racing over the last few years. But with Audi Sports programme completely being scaled back, ComTU, certainly for GT activity, is off to Aston Martin for next season.
Very last minute checking of tyre pressures, maybe a slight adjustment before the car takes the new set of boots.
A little bit of debris on the road there, is there not?
Isn't there? Yeah.
So, not aware that anybody's had an off as Rob Huff goes back out, and Rob letting the traffic get ahead of him, so he's got clear track space. Jan Elachet is on his way out of the pit lane as well. And a bit of smoke out of the back there of number 15 of Tian Tai. So Tian Kai up the escape road, and that I think is the end of his session, because he's just gone straight on, and that looks like he's mechanical.
It doesn't look good, does it? No. So the car parks up, and I wonder what the legacy of that retirement is going to be from this qualifying session. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
I think he's so far up the escape road, he was driving it between the barriers. You can park that. It's not that he's got there, you know, involuntarily. So he's out of the top 12 anyway, Tian Kai, so that's the end of his session. But whether, if it was a mechanical issue, he's put anything on the road, we'll wait and see.
On board with Norbert Mikulits. It's a totally different view of the Guia circuit, isn't it, from a touring car, as it is from the single-seaters, or indeed the GT cars. A totally different perspective. So Norbert Mikulits is currently coming out from pit lane. This is the second run in this Q1. And a good look back at the concentration that it takes around the Guia circuit. We were watching yesterday for a number of drivers just how infrequently they blink during a lap around the Guia circuit. I would imagine it's pretty difficult to breathe as well, as you're breathing in at all sorts of points around the circuit. Almost looks sometimes as if the cars have to breathe in, particularly when you see a touring car during the race in particular, coming up towards a slower car and having to squeeze through during this tight, twisty section of the circuit. Ash Gunnar is quickest, 1:96. The target time, 2:28.7. On board with Rob Huff. So much success here on the Guia circuit at Macau. You can't really explain exactly what the secret is to going well around the Guia circuit. He loves the place, absolutely adores it, just feels at one with the circuit, and has come up with that quote, that wonderful quote: if he's still got intact wing mirrors at the end of a session, then he hasn't been trying hard enough.
Paul Poon at the escape road at Lisboa. So another of the drivers to qualify through TCR Asia last week. Paul Poon off the road. He was also down for speeding in the pit lane the other day, wasn't he? So Paul Poon in strife, and he's at the escape road. 350 euros he had to cough up, but let's see if he can get himself back in line. So second run underway then now. Mikael Ashkana heading to the end of the first sector. Is it going to be green? Is it going to be purple? It is neither, so he's down on time, and then there's going to be a yellow at Lisboa. So this second run, I think, is going to be wasted by the drivers that are trying to push.
It's going to be compromised, isn't it? So Ashkana is top of the times, the target time of 2:28.7. Mikulits with a 2:28.753. So just 0.04 of a second slower is Mikulits. Marcin Kwa is third. Half a second is the gap. And Jan Lachey is fourth. Where is Rob Huff at the moment, you may well ask? Certainly his family will be asking, because they were watching the live stream yesterday.
Sixth is the answer. And in the top 12, which is the important part. This in replay is going straight on Fred Vervish, again at Lisboa, but he's able to wrestle the Comte Audi around the corner. And was that Rob Huff?
I think it was.
I think there's something on the road there, because to have two of them going off is a bit strange. Rob possibly gauging his braking point against his teammate, so if one's got it wrong, so might the other. But we've had four cars off there now.
We saw that car going off, didn't we, with a lot of smoke coming out the back of it. So I did wonder what the legacy may be.
And then Paul Poon off the road as well, and then that. So anyway, we are still green, and we're not being told about a slippery track at turn 3. This is Mikulic, who is in sector 4, but if this is a push lap from most people, it's not coming. It's quicker at the start of the session.
So on board with Norbert Mikulits, who is just 0.04 of a second behind Ashkana, who has just gone overall best in sector 4. So Mikael Ashkana with a 33.5 in sector 4. One more sector to go, and as they head down to the completion of the lap, this is Norbert Mikulic with the little puff of smoke. It's a bit of a trademark puff of smoke that we see from the back of those cars. Nothing to worry about, because the cars continue on at a pace.
Right, so Ashkan is heading up towards the timing line, watched by the Hyundai engineers. It's a Hyundai 1-2 at the moment. That lap is slower, and so is Mikulic's, so they're still in the same order. Ashkan ahead of Norby, but then Mark Wing Ha is third, and Mark Wing Ha is the driver upholding Lincoln Co-Honor ahead of Lachey, and Rob Huff is only 6th at the moment. But again, at the moment, this isn't determining the first 6 rows of the grid. It is row 7 and back, but the rest are just trying to get into Q2, and we're 12 minutes off that.
Yep, no need to pull the pin exactly at this point, but make no mistake, they will be doing so as the qualifying session goes on. This is the qualifying session for the Macau Gear Race, the Kumo TCR World Tour event of Macau. They will enjoy 2 races over the course of this weekend. Race 1 tomorrow at 10 to 1 in the afternoon local time, and then 25 to 11 on Grand Prix day here on Sunday.
Jan Lachey has come back into the pit lane, incidentally, so getting out of his second run early, which may be a good thing. Because
the circuit is not quite as good as it should be. Look, there's no personal improvements as you look down the timing screen, so I reckon there is something down there.
Yeah, I don't think it's awful, but it's enough just for the track to lose a little bit of its edge. And also coming in, well, they are going to put another set of tyres on, is the Lincoln Co. there, Ted Björk, who's not really got going yet. Ted is 9th, a bit understated for somebody that's been a race winner this year at the Hungaroring. Jan Lachey coming here on the back of a Bathurst win.
Which isn't bad for the CV, is
well,
it?
no, indeed. He also won Spa, so, you know, daunting circuits, he goes well. Factor that into what's going to happen here.
Yeah, we shall wait and see what happens over the course of this weekend. There is no real prediction. This is the first time they've been going competitively around the Guia circuit so far. And this day 2 of 4 for the 70th Macau Grand Prix. So we've now got a couple of sectors that are personal best.
Yeah.
One is for Rob Huff in sector 3. Rob Huff with a 31.3 in sector 3 and a 31.1 for Guilherme.
This is Marco Butti on his way up towards Donna Maria, understeering way wide, and he just gets it away from the wall. That was close, and that was just because of too much speed being carried up the hill. Missed the apex for the corner, but he's got away with that. But now he'll be all unsettled coming into the Macau hairpin, and he's trying to regroup and trying to push on all at the same time. Marco Butti had just done a personal best in sectors 2 and 3, but then, as you saw, it oh so nearly unravelled, and he is slower, therefore, in sector 4.
So personal best sectors coming in for Rob Huff, Guilherme and Fred Vivish as well. We've not mentioned him so far during this session. He's gone up to 7th now with a lap time of 2:30.337. And let's compare that to Ashkena's time, 2:28.708. Just over 9 minutes left on the clock for Q1.
Everybody looking on in the pit lane, yeah, so into the last third of this first qualifying period, others improving. Actually, Marco Butti, despite his dramas, is in the top 10,
yeah,
so fair play.
Really good work.
Yeah, he's nearly a squash Butti, but anyway, he got away with it, he's in the top 10. Sorry. It's been a long week.
It's fine.
John Philippi, he says, moving swiftly on, goes through. He's 13th and has just improved as well in the third of the Comptiou Audis. Ted Björk's gone back out on a new set of tyres. Jan Erlaché still in the pits.
Rob Huff has put in a personal best in sector 1, one of the few cars on the circuit at the moment. Guilherme is on track, Fred Vivish is on track as well, and Butti is on track. So quite a few of them coming into pit lane. Quite frantic, isn't it, for the teams and the drivers, this Q1?
Yeah, half an hour feels like a long time. Then you factor in the fact that a good lap is 2 minutes and 28. And then also the fact that they are looking at 3 stints and maybe 2 stints within Q2. So the pressure is on everybody, driver and team, especially with these pit stops, to get through the programme. Looking
at Marcin Roy going through his tyre change, currently 3rd, 2:29.2 for Marcin Roy. Great driver, world-class driver, and to be driving here at Macau, always a bit of a treat.
Another ex-British F3 racer, wasn't it? A long time ago, and Super League, Formula E, and TCR China champion. So very accomplished in different categories.
It's the car that currently is on top of the times. We got Ashkona with a 2:28.708. New set of boots. Turn the car around. 7 minutes and 20 seconds remain.
Right, Rob Huff improved last time, 2 minutes 30.239, 6th fastest he remains, crucially, into the top 12. And when we get to that shootout, it's not only the grid we're looking at, it's points for the championship as well.
27 car, John Philippi, the Comptiou Audi RS, turns through the Macau hairpin, then the track opens up, down through the sweeps, through Black Sands, down to Fisherman's Bend. The right-hander at Fisherman's Bend, our bend, the final turn on the course, and that will complete a lap here at Macau.
Ted Björk improving in sectors, going quicker in sector 1 on this lap, and John Philippi is going to come to the pit lane. That's the end of his second run, and that is the other Lincoln Co in the background of Yan Tran, Paul Ridgway, the bespectacled race engineer staring at the data. He's the man that's run Ricky Collard in the British Touring Car Championship this season. He's not done anything wrong. He's just run Ricky Carlisle in the British Touring Car Championship. I'm sure they
Many years ago, when Rob Collard came into the BTCC in a little Renault Clio, it was a little black and yellow Renault Clio. Paul Ridgway ran that car as well.
Yeah, that ran Tin Top Tuesday stickers, as I recall.
It ran Radio Toker stickers all those years ago.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Which was the radio station for the championship. Rob had no sponsorship. He was paying for the drive himself. So he said, "Yeah, I've got a blank canvas. You probably want to put the radio station on the side of the car. Do it."
Yeah. So the ComTU team then addressing John Philippe's Audi. So the former single-seater racer, ex-Formula Renault hot shoe in the pit road. And the session, Q1 this is, 5 minutes remaining.
Ted Bjork has gone personal best in the first 4 sectors, so I think we can expect this to be an improvement for Ted. Currently down in 9th place. Car 111 for Ted Bjork. Just waiting for Ted to finish sector 5. That's not a bad advert for the cars, is it?
No.
All 4 of them in shot.
Except that Ted Bjork's lap has just been left redundant because they've all gone in his way by weaving.
So bad advert.
Four personal best sectors, and then what do you find? Weaving around, but Ma Xinghua and also Santiago Arrutia up front. So that last sector for Ted Bjork basically has cost him just under 2 seconds.
I take back everything I said.
I mean, it looks lovely, all 4 of them together. A sea of blue, however. Ted Bjork wanted a sea of green to prove lap time improvement, and he didn't get it. He's in the top 12, but it should have been better.
Yeah, should have been better. Stays 9th for poor old Ted Bjork. Think before you speak, Hyde. And yeah, that was a compromised lap.
Yeah, and Arrutia now gets himself to the back of the queue, so they all shuffle themselves around and make the climb up to San Francisco now. 4 minutes are on the clock. Euskner out again, Mikulic out again. And I think I'm right in saying the only person in the pit lane in the top 12 is Ben Barguana. And Paul Poon, who dug himself out of the escape road, is also leaving the pit lane now. Jan Erlaché, absolute best middle sector, second sector rather.
Yeah, goes purple in sector 2, went personal best in sector 1. This one to watch for Erlaché, going on board through the tight and twisty section of the Guia circuit. 6.1 kilometres in total, made up of fast, long straights and twisty, narrow section of the circuit, which heads up towards Melco Hairpin. And it really is a circuit of 2 extremely different components. Jan Erlaché really working well here.
Yeah, and so is the team, actually, because they're getting the message through now. Whichever driver is on a quick lap, the others are being told, get out of the way, don't impede. So Ma Xinghua also picking up the pace, and Erlaché's backed out of it by the look of it. I think he's been put to the back of the queue, hasn't he?
He was getting past a couple of cars,
right,
and that is not a good place to get past them.
No. But having done a personal and an absolute best, it almost looked then as though Erlaché, he's backed off.
He has backed off, yeah.
Letting the others go. So I think Ma Xinghua is the one they're concentrating on this lap. He's got 2 personal best sectors. But again, all of this is only to guarantee that you get into the top 12.
Ted Bjork, what's he doing? He's currently in 9th. He had that compromised lap on the previous lap. He's got personal best in sectors 1 and 3, and not really anything to line home about in sectors 2 and 4. So let's see how that all threads together. Will it be an improvement in position? He's currently 9th. Ashkuna, Mikulic, Girolami, Vervish and Booty all making their way out of pit lane. Ted Bjork does go better, goes 6th. So 3 personal best sectors out of 5 and a 2:31.63. That's good enough for 6th.
So at the moment, the man on the bubble is Ben Barguana, because he is about 7/10 of a second up on John Philippe. Philippe is the first one to miss the cut, but has just done a personal best sector 1. So Audi number 27 is the next one to keep an eye on. There you've got in 1:55 Ma Xinghua, but he's slower in the first sector this time. So Ma not being able to improve on that 2:29.0 of last time.
No urgency there. So we've got 1.5 minutes of this session remaining on the clock. Well, they got through their planned running order, didn't they?
Yeah.
3 stints in this first section of qualifying.
Starting to see improved sectors out of Rob Huff, which would be good if only to prove that the Audi has got the pace, because Rob is 7th at the moment, which is not really where he needs to be.
No, and hasn't been thus far.
No.
And Rob was saying the other day, I'm confident this weekend. Coming into it, I know I've got a great car. The car has been absolutely superb.
Audi Sports' Chris Reinke looking on with the Comp2 team, who've been good customers with Audi, not only in touring cars, but with a fleet of Audi R8s for GT3 racing. Here is John Filippi then, the man that is trying to break into that top 12, and he's looking good at the moment, because although Ben Barguana is on track in the Claret-built Peugeot, he's not yet up to speed, and John Filippi has done 3 out of the top 3 sectors as personal best on this lap, so he's about to complete sector 4. Does the trend continue, suggesting it's going to be a lap time improvement? He's got to find a big chunk. He's got to find 7/10 of a second, but John Filippi looking pretty good. Yes, another quick sector. Rob Huff's gone 4th then, his teammates, so Huffy up to 4th fastest now, 2:29.1. And John Filippi should break into the top dozen, shouldn't he?
Yeah, it was looking more Huff-like on that lap, that's for sure. Personal best in 4 out of the 5 sectors around the Guia circuit. Only sector 2 was a drop, so Rob Huff goes up to 4th. That's more like it.
Now, John Filippi for the top 12. Let's see. Heads up towards the timing line. Checkered flag, he's out then, and as he goes through, what does he do? He does improve to 10th fastest, and that means that Ben Barguana might miss out, but Ben is on a quick lap. He's just done a personal best in sector 1. So Ben Barguana, number 71 Peugeot, will be the next one to watch, purely to see whether he can stay in the top dozen. And Lo Si Ho is the man on the bubble.
So, checker flag is out on Q1 for the Macau Gear race. Such a prestigious race this for Tin Tops here at Macau. And also, of course, the final events of the year for the Kumho TCR World Tour event of Macau. Brand new, this World Tour for 2023, and it's proved to be very, very popular over the course of the year, not least because of the amount of wonderful circuits that it has taken in, wonderful parts of the world as well. And on that final lap, Fred Pavish put in an overall best on the final sector. That marks intent, doesn't it? 2:29.309, good enough for 6th.
Right, so then, Ben Barguana, personal best, personal best, personal best. Here he is, he's in sector 4. So the Peugeot, it is the only Peugeot on the grid, is it not, for the Australian driver. It's built in France by Teddy Claret's team. Teddy, one of the stars of the French saloon car racing scene. And Ben Barguana then down towards the Macau hairpin. Dad made a good name for himself in supercars in Australia, within the Australian Touring Car Championship. And so Ben now heads downhill. Came out of one make Hyundai racing back home with good success, and that's Rob Huff, who is not going to go any quicker on this lap. He's backed out of it because he's safe, he's in, so no point to really push. But behind him is Barguana, and that's the one of interest then as he heads now towards the timing line. So Ben Barguana into our bend. The first 4 sectors, all personal bests. He takes the checkered flag, and does he improve? Yes, to 11th, he's in, to the delight of Dad. And that means that Lo Si Ho is the one that is bumped out of it, but Jason Barguana is a happy, happy man.
So the team, so the family, great scenes there, yeah, so it means something, doesn't it, to get into Q2. That was a good lap, that, and all pieced together to bring great joy to all.
So Jason Barguana watches Ben go through, the Victorian Hyundai XL champion of 2018. What do you mean you didn't know there was a Victorian Hyundai XL championship?
That, no. Thanks for the info.
Well, there you go. But he's a TCR veteran now, is Ben. 3 years he's been doing the Australian championship. So that means Mikkel Ashkuna, Norby Mikelish, Marsha Ha, Rob Huff, Jan Elische, Fred Vervish, Nestor Girolami, Ted Björk, Santiago Urrutia, John Filippi, Ben Barguana and Marco Butti are the drivers that will progress into Q2. And that China Touring Car Championship is how you run qualifying.
It was really good, wasn't it? Textbook stuff, world-class drivers, really impressive this.
So the order at the moment then is Mikkel Ashkuna ahead of Norbert Mikelish by 45 thousandths of a second, which around 6K of road course is very impressive. Marc Xinhua is 3rd from Rob Huff and Jan Elische, 6th Fred Vervish ahead of Nestor Girolami, and then Ted Björk from Santiago Urrutia, John Filippi, Ben Barguana And 12th, progressing Marco Butti outside the cutoff. Lo Se-ho from Yan Trang, then Paul Poon from Tian Ke, who we saw parking. Then there is Deng Baowei and Ling Wenji, whose car was quite badly damaged yesterday at the foot of the times. So that's the order. You can see the gaps that go from thousandths up to full seconds. And looking forward to Q2.
A thrilling opening session in qualification. And Ben Bargwana, right at the very end, makes it through. Jason, talk to me about the emotions at this moment in time.
Oh, look, it's just huge for us. I mean, obviously for Ben to come to Macau for the first time. We've had a pretty good 2 races in Australia. A bit of bad luck with engines and bits and pieces, but he got some really good results. So to come here and make it Q2, very happy. Let's see how we go for this one. Who knows, gets P10, it could be good for race 2.
Fantastic, Jason, really appreciate it. Best of luck for Q2. And back now to our commentary team.
Jason Bargwana then on the radio to Sam Ben, and he's bringing the car back. Of course, the danger of doing an absolute last gasp run like that is that you're eating into the break between the 2 elements of qualifying before you even get back to the pit lane.
That's true.
He is on his way. But a good result, bearing in mind that car stopped with a mechanical issue yesterday when they were worried about the water temperatures going up and up and up to get into Q2. Good effort.
And 10th may well be good for race 2 on the weekend. That's going to be on race day. So, yeah, good to see.
That's the reverse grid, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So you take the normal order for race 1, but then you reverse the top 10 for race 2. And if the championship is on the line, a reverse grid, wow, around here.
Yeah.
Can't wait. But points are on offer at the end of Q2. Rob Huff gets ready. And, of course, now everybody else settles in thinking, right, OK, Q2, got to deliver. Who's else in this? Ah, yeah, Rob Huff. Oh, yeah, Rob Huff. He's good around here. And he's got that psychological advantage.
He hasn't yet turned on full Huff mode around the Guia circuit. You can tell when he does. He's so close to the walls, to the barriers. Every single part of the Guia circuit is at 1 with Huffy in the car. So let's see what happens. 15 minutes for Q2. Soon to get underway. Gets underway at 1:24 local time. That's just under 3 minutes away. Local time is 21 minutes past 1. In sunny and clear conditions here at Macau. The normal business of Macau goes on. Just seeing a bus doing a turn around what is essentially a hairpin just by the ferry terminal on the other side of the paddock. And that is what they do around these streets all day long for the rest of the year. 4 days per year, the tarmac of Macau is turned over to the Macau Grand Prix. And this year, a treat, 6 days, 2 weekends, all celebrating the 70th Macau Grand Prix.
So this session will begin in 2 minutes' time, and 15 minutes then ahead of us for Q2. Ready to sort out the first 6 rows of the 2 grids, races 1 and 2. Mikael Ashkena's new set of boots applied for the BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa team, the Elantra. Hyundai getting through quite a lot of different shapes within TCR regulations over the years, but certainly embracing TCR. Other manufacturers, of course, inevitably come and go, but Hyundai has really been a stalwart.
They have invested a huge amount in motorsport, as you were saying. We're going to go back down to pit lane and maybe a couple more thoughts from pit lane before we get Q2 underway.
I'm here with Detlef Schmidt. Detlef, qualifying 1, successful for the team. How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I would say we are on target, and as always, there are different strategies to go for the top or to go for the middle position, to have a good starting position in both races. And also we count on our third driver, John Filippi, to score for the reversed grid. So I would say we are happy so far. Let's hope the session was brilliant without any stop in the session. So let's continue in Q2 like that and bring it to the end.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Best of luck in Q2. Back to commentary.
So very happy Audi Sport Customer Racing squad. How happy will they be depending on what happens at the end of the session? The point is well made about different strategies. If you can get a couple of mid-grids, you've got a good chance in both races. But of course, that's why there are points on offer in qualifying, to try and make sure that people push, and therefore you take the points, but in doing so, you compromise your starting position for the second of the two races.
2, 1, and green flag shown down in pit lane. We've got Q2 underway for the Macau Gear Race at the Kumo TCR World Tour events here at Macau. They line up down in pit lane, and if they had to make everything count early on in 25 minutes of qualifying, it's even more so over the course of 15 minutes.
Indeed, and we reckon 2 runs, so possibly 2 laps, pit stop, 2 laps, and that will sort out the grid, or grids, for the 2 races, barring any grid drops that come. So straight out, try and get some warmth into the tyres, and it's a calmer circuit in as much as there are only 12 cars on it this time.
Yeah, that makes things a little bit easier, but also fitting 2 stints into 15 minutes can in itself present any problems. You can't have any hiccups on track, you can't have any hiccups down in pit lane to slow them on their way. 15 minutes is not that long, is it?
No, indeed. There is Ben Barguana. He's gone out just a little bit later. Mind you, he was in a little bit later as well, but that does at least put him in clear space. Of course, he is ploughing this lone furrow, really, the Team Claret Sport Personal Auto Parts Racing car, whereas you've got CompuU Audis that can work together, you've got the Hyundais that can work together, you've got the Lincoln Co's that can work together. Ben doesn't have that opportunity.
Paul Ridgway getting far too much airtime as far as I'm concerned down in pit lane. Far too much. Had a little chat to him actually down in the garages. He's buzzing, but he was also saying we've been away from home for quite a long time now.
Yes, because they've done the 2 Australian races and then come here. Yeah.
And that really does take an effect on a team. He said you have to sort of factor into time to not be around the team for quite a bit of time, just you know you're
refresh yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Well, there is Jan Ellershey, and so remember, we're looking at the top 6 at the end of this session for points within the championship. Down towards Melco Hairpin go the Lincoln Co's.
Tiago Montero still watching down in pit lane. Keep an eye on the monitors across everything that takes place in this qualifying time. Qualifying time, we've got 12.5 minutes of this session remaining now, and we are now just completing the warm-up lap, reading the cars from side to side. Am I allowed to say that's a nice advert for the car?
I think that works now. I think they've orchestrated it a bit better this time, but what they really need to do is get some clear track space between each of the cars so that Santiago Rutia, who goes across the line first, can clear Jan Ellershey, who can clear Ma Xinghua, who can clear Ted Buick. Then you've got Fred Vervisch going through, heading the Audi trio, ahead of Rob Huff, ahead of John Filippi. John, I think he's going to be the sacrificial lamb, isn't he, to be 10th, and at least get an Audi at the front for race 2. But the Hyundais will be intriguing as well. We've got Girolami and Butti and Barguana within this session as well. Right, this is on board with Jan Ellershey. Down now towards Lisboa, braking hard, trying to find the corner, and he's got a little bit deep, very close to the barrier, but that's an error and that's a wasted lap.
That wasn't great, was it, on the approach? It's absolutely vital to get that right. It's a tight exit to the corner. And, yep, not exactly perfect for Jan Ellershey this first time through.
And off the road is Mikko Lauskinen, so the driver that's been topping the times for much of the weekend. He makes a mistake at Lisboa. Spin, under braking, he's got it going again. Green light flashes, so the road is clear, but drama and worried brows now at the Hyundai squad. Let's have a look at how he did it. Just way too fast into the corner.
Oh.
Tried to turn the car, but lost the back of it.
Those tyres aren't going to be perfect after that, are they?
No, but he's got another run, but that's an opportunity squandered, no question about it.
So they are on now sector 3 as they thread their way through on this first flying lap during this Q2 period. And overall best in sector 3 for Ma Xinghua. Number 155. puts in a 31.043 in sector 3. 2 more sectors to go. Back on board with Jan Lachey. And let's see who else is putting in purple sectors. Well, Nestor Giolami in car number 129 has put in overall best in sector 1, sector 3. Norbert Mikelic has put in an overall best in sector 2. And then Marcin Poir comes through with an overall best in sector 4.
And the fact that those absolute bests are being peppered around is impressive. Marco Butti has found the barriers, though. Coming out of Donna Maria, Marco Butti has hit the wall pretty hard. You can see the damage on the back of the car. You can see the tyre marks. If he can get it going, we'll be okay. But the danger here is that there's going to be a yellow, and that will throw people's run plans out of the window. Marcin Poir then accelerating up towards the line. These laps become very important if there is going to be a stoppage. Marcin Poir goes quickest, then Veach goes second, Björk goes third, Rob Huff goes fastest, 2:29.0 for Huffy.
So, Huff mode activated then on the first of the flying laps. Norbert Mikelic then goes to the top of the times at 2:28.504. But and Giolami goes second quickest with a 2:28.712. But for the first time this year, we've seen Rob Huff on top of the times.
Now, drama at Lisboa, and let's see who did what. People shuffling in the order. Red flag shown. That was the Ashkana drama again, but red flag, and this has got to be because Marco Butti's car is still stuck there. So as I say, those lap times were going to be important because a red flag was potentially to be shown, and Norbert Mikelic is shown as being the fastest. Now, all of those last laps, I think, have been discounted, haven't they? Norbert Mikelic has gone top, Nestor Girolami second, Rob Huff shown as third. We'll come back to the timing screen, but Marco Butti, he very nearly did this earlier on, remember, by understeering out wide, and he's done it good and proper this time in the Hyundai, clattering the wall. Yeah, big bang on the right-hand front of the car, barely the room for the cars to thread their way through. It's always the worry that you're going to collect a car which is left stricken on that tight, narrow section of the circuit, but the clock has stopped at 8 minutes and 58 seconds of this 15-minute Q2. I'm just wondering whether lap times might have been taken away from some drivers if there was a feeling that they'd improved under a yellow flag. Right, yeah. Could be that he's legit, and Mikelic did go fastest anyway, because he was a little bit behind in the queue, but Rob Huff is certainly no longer the fastest. Either way, we're under a red flag with 9 minutes to go. So the order, after one flying lap, there is barely the room to squeeze a touring car through. Breathe in, and then through we go. Only just enough space to get the cars through to get back down into pit lane. Marco Butti racing here for the first time. Lesson learned, eh? And he had been doing all right, 3 personal bests. But again, look, as we saw earlier on, understeers it out wide, can't slow the car down, and this time, bang, into the barriers, and that's a broken front right suspension, hence it's going no further. So that requires a lift. It's going to be a lift from the recovery vehicle. It's got to make its way round there after all the touring cars have made their way through, onwards and inwards into pit lane. On board with the car that currently tops the times, Norbert Mikelic with 2:28.504. So if things stayed as they are, he would assume the championship lead ahead of Rob Huff, who would position himself ahead of Jan Lachey. Yeah, points for qualifying does add an extra incentive to put these lap times in and make them count early on. And they're big points, you know, 15 versus 10 versus 8. 6, 4 and 2, it's only the top 6. Well, Lachey, 8th at the moment, wouldn't score at all. Qualifying takes an even more important role on the course of the weekend, doesn't it, when you've got big points like that available on offer. They come down into pit lane now. You can see normal life of Macau in the background. Buses, coaches, cars, all sorts make their way around just in front of the ferry terminal as the cars make their way into pit lane. Take a little while to get the recovery vehicle out there to recover that stricken car. Time for the teams to welcome the cars back into pit lane. Getting ready for this. Got the outlap to do once again, haven't they? And the time will diminish very, very quickly. having said that, they are being able to do a tyre change without losing time in the session, if you like, because everybody is losing time in the session, and so it sort of levels that playing field.
Ascona will be pleased about that, because those tyres will not be good after that lock-up going into Lisboa. The car's all right, didn't touch the barrier. The tyres decidedly second-hand after that.
So there is Norbert Mikulic then, currently the fastest by 0.208 of a second, and it's the leading four within a second of each other. Ma Xinhua having initially set the gun time, but fourth in the order. So the Audis await in the pit lane. Marco Butti's car already quickly up onto the flatbed, so his spectacularly liveried Hyundai will be taken back to the support race paddock and made good, along with a lot of other battered touring cars that we've had from another championship that's here this weekend. Rob Huff just gets himself sorted out, gets the sweat out of his eyes. One of the most successful drivers around here, hence he's been immortalised with this Madame Tussauds waxwork in the museum.
I was just about to say, when I was walking around the Grand Prix Museum the other day, it coincided with Rob being in there, and it's a few years ago now that he went through the whole process of having all the little pinpoints made on his forehead and around his face to get the sizing and to get the various dimensions correct, and he was full of it just after it happened, because it's an amazing thing, particularly for a Brit, to be contacted by Madame Tussauds and say, we need to make this waxwork of you. He's still as full of it now, and there is a little video going on in the background showing the process of measuring him up and going through the whole rigmarole of getting ready for the waxwork to be crafted. It is superb. It is. It is utterly superb.
And it is a one-off. You can't buy your own little Huff statuette, I'm afraid.
I'm sure he's tried.
Yes, it's a one-off. So 9 minutes the session will run for, and it will resume in just over a minute's time.
That's really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick turnaround. Good work. They know what they're doing here at Macau. The marshals, the recovery units, they're used to it.
And also
we're going to go down to pit lane, in fact, and get thoughts before we get this session back underway.
This session will resume in 1 minute. The session will resume in 1 minute.
Francois, down in pit lane, we've heard that the session's going to resume in 1 minute, so I'll not keep you. How's it going for your guys, and in particular for Rob Huff?
Yeah, I mean, without driving yesterday FP2, for sure we need to use Q1. We need Q1 as a proper test, I would say, for new tires. But yeah, definitely we are back in the game, I would say, even if performance-wise, for sure we are not there. Now we need King of Macau lap. This is clear.
Fantastic. Francois Verbiest from ComTU Racing. Back to the commentary team. Let's see if Rob Huff can be the King of Macau in the final few minutes.
Well, I think we've all been waiting for King of Macau Huff mode to be activated around the Guia circuit at Macau. Whether it will come in the remaining 9 minutes, just under, we shall wait and see.
Well, at the moment he's giving away 7, so net 6 points to Mikulic in the championship. Green flag. We're back in business then. 9 minutes to sort out the 2 grids for the Kumo TCR World Tour event of Macau. There is Rob Huff down the pit lane, chased by Fred Verbiest, John Philippi, Norbert Mikulic, Mikkel Ashkana. So all of those championship protagonists have got somebody to help them. There are more drivers in the Lincoln Coast, so there's a bit more support for Yann Lachey, but there are 2 there to try and help Huff, and only 1 for Mikulic.
So back to the job of weaving a bit of heat into new tyres after the compulsory stop for everybody. A little bit more time down in pit lane, not under competition categories, on board with Rob Huff.
Ernesto Girolami not going out again. So second in the times, but maybe he feels that that's all he can do. That would suggest a problem, would it not, if the car's not going back out?
It would. I mean, there's 9 minutes on the restart, so yeah, remaining down in pit lane, off comes the helmet, out come the earpieces, so yeah, that's unfortunate.
So the ComTU team set, the Lincoln Co team set, and the session then back underway as the championship showdown continues here in Macau.
7 minutes and 20 seconds of the session remain, including this, the final pass of getting the tyres back up to temperature to get this session back underway, put in the quick laps around the sun-drenched Macau circuit, the Guia circuit here at Macau. It's cooler, it's windy, and we have sunshine and clear blue skies. We also have a huge crowd here to enjoy qualifying day here at Macau. Although we select this as qualifying day, it's when we have qualifying sessions. Tomorrow is qualifying day as well, because many of the races are qualification races, certainly for the single-seaters and for the GT cars. Qualifying sets the grid for the Grand Prix day grids that will line up. As far as the touring cars are concerned for the Macau Gear race, that is on Sunday, and the equal length race that we'll have tomorrow spreads out their racing over 2 days. They used to have here at Macau both of their races on the Sunday, and it was quite a frantic, quite a treat for touring car fans, because you almost getting on for 2 hours of touring car action on Grand Prix Sunday, but a little bit more spaced out now with this format. Race tomorrow and a race on Sunday as well.
But it does make Saturday a proper day, doesn't it? They might only be qualifying races, but even so, they are proper races, and all adds to the drama of the weekend. Right, so we now have just under 6 minutes to go. You're riding with Yann Elaché, who is right up against the wall, coming out of Mandarin, down towards Lisboa, and teammate bails out of the way, so Yann Elaché gets an uninterrupted ride all the way down, down, down through the gears, hard on the brakes. Does not improve, though, in Sector 1. The Lincoln Co's not looking as good here as the Hyundais and the Audis, are they? But, of course, don't forget, he's also got the 40 kilos, the maximum of ballast through qualifying efforts earlier on in the year. So after what happened to Bathurst, he cops the lot. Mikulic then, absolute best in Sector 1.
He got through Lisboa a little bit better that time, didn't he? Yeah. On the previous time of asking, it was a little bit messy going into Lisboa, and it pretty much compromised the whole of the lap for Yann Elaché. Has gone overall best in Sector 2, and Yann...
That's the uphill bit, and yet with all the weight, he still delivers.
The weight, yeah. Car works well with weight. Some of them do, don't they?
It's true, it's true. So this is Elaché, down the hill he comes then now. Maternity, up towards Pyle, and then down towards Police. Fighting the car a little bit. Oh, so close to the wall as you've got to be. Stand on the brakes. From Police to Moorish, up the hill, heading towards Donna Maria.
The long left-hander that marks the run down towards the Melco hairpin. No overtaking over the course of the whole weekend. And oh, so close to the barrier on the exit of that corner. Wow.
He's leaving nothing on the table, is he? Elaché knows the importance of this session, of this lap, and he is really out to deliver.
Neat and tidy around the Melco hairpin. The run down now through Black Sands. It's still tight. It's still just 2 carriageways in normal Macau road activity, and then it opens up on the run down towards Fisherman's, through Fisherman's. That's wide. It's quick. And then the run very close to the wall on the exits of Fisherman's. The run down towards Arb Bend. It's the right-hander. The completion of a lap for Yann Elaché. What's this time going to be? Personal best in 2, 3 and 4, and up towards the line. Oh, so close. Goes top. So 2:28.296.
Right, let's see what the opposition can do then. This is Norbert Mikulic, who's done an absolute best, and then 3 personal bests. Rob Huff goes through 4th on a 2:28.8, half a second back here. Then up towards the line goes Mikulic to go fastest, 2:27.9. 72 thousandths quicker than Ashkener, who's also ahead of Elaché. So Elaché 3rd, Huff 5th, Mikulic on pole at the moment.
Gianami in 4th, Rob Huff in 5th. Rob put in 1 overall best sector. That was in Sector 4. He's down in 5th place and completing the top 6, Marcin Poir. But it's Mikulic that is top of the times, 2:27.966.
Ted Bjork getting out of the way of a charging Fred Verviche, who's just done a personal best in Sector 1. We've yet to get a proper time out of Ben Barguana. He delivers and he goes up to 11th then. He's wanting to be 10, isn't he, for the reverse grids flip round. So he needs to find, what does he need to find? Another couple of seconds, actually. So there's quite a margin that Ben Barguana's got to find. The Lincoln Co's doing a bit of a shuffle, and Fred Verviche is going to get stuck in and amongst them in a minute. So I think El Haché has had to back out of this lap. This is the one where Marchenquois is kind of trying to deliver, but his sector time's not good enough.
They're sort of taking it in turns. We've only got just over 2 minutes of this session remaining. We said 15 minutes wasn't going to be too long, even less when you've got a stoppage in a 15-minute session, and therefore you've really got to push on these laps, these opportunities that you do have to put in a quick lap on board with the car that is currently top. And Norbert Mikelic with a 2:27.966, currently quickest. And this isn't going to be a quick lap, I don't think.
Not from Norby, no. And this is, of course, the second run that they've all had because of that red flag. They were able to do the tyre change then. So really, that first and only push lap has been it. Now, one and two, one and two might be able to get another lap out of this if the tyres are willing, because they'll get to the timing line within 90 seconds. So there is one more chance. So push, maybe just let the tyres have a breather, push again. But as they head up now towards the exit of Black Sands, down towards Fisherman's, John Philippi there going through. There is Norbert Mikelic, currently the fastest, and therefore currently on for 15 points for pole position.
Traffic here, lots of traffic up ahead as they come through, complete a lap with just under 1 minute until the checker flag comes out. So it is this final opportunity to put in a quick lap for the weekend here in Macau for the Macau Guia race, the Kumo TCR World Tour events on Macau. For that championship, there are points available for this qualifying session, and at the moment, it's advantage Norbert Mikelic, who comes into pit lane. Jan El Haché does the same, Guilherme does the same. They're all into pits, qualifying complete.
Yeah, Guilherme never went out, did he, in that second element, so he's just been there, but equally impressive. He's been relying on a time set in the first. He's kept him fourth, whereas Huff, Mar, Verviche, Philippi, Pure, Larutier, Faguana have been unable to attack. And Norbert Mikelic's team reckon he's done enough because none of the first sectors are improvements. So it does look as though we've got a grid, and Norbert Mikelic not only takes pole for race one, but he also takes the championship lead.
Certainly the team celebrate, and checker flag goes out now for Q2 and the end of qualifying for the Macau Guia race. And job done down in pit lane. Super work. A 2:27.966, the only car in the 2:27s. The closest, Michael Ashkana with a 2:28.038. Jan El Haché with a 2:28.296. Guilherme in the pit lane with a 2:28.712. Rob Huff, the king of Macau, as quoted down in pit lane, 2:28.873. And for Marchenquois, a 2:29.407. That was really improving. Ted Bjork has done a personal best on that lap down there in 9th place. Uratia also putting in a personal best in sector 2, not sector 3, not sector 1. So I reckon they know down in pit lane, they know more than us, because that is going to be, I think, the end of the push laps. Through the Melco hairpin they thread, and down towards Black Sands and Fisherman's, and our bend, the finale. Is anyone pushing on this lap? No improvements on sector 4 as they come through. Looking at Ted Bjork, that is one of the cars that have improved on sector 2, but not in sector 3 and 4, and not that happy, I don't think, inside the car.
No, something sounds horrible there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't sound great. One of the things I love about Macau, and this is a rather random one, the checkered flag is always waved with vigour.
Yes.
And it's a proper checkered flag, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder whether something's broken in Huffy's car, because
I think you're right.
It didn't sound great, and there's a bit of frustration there. That means, I'm afraid, he's now 10 points behind Norbert Mikelic in the championship. So
still not happy.
Yeah, no, he's on the radio, isn't he? And he's talking about something that is not good in the car. Either he's broken something or something has broken. But there's a frustration there from Rob Huff.
Yeah, what a shame for Rob Huff. He's in 5th place.
But he's 10 points back in the championship. He's no longer joint championship leader. He is 3rd. Mikelic 3.98, El Haché 3.92, Huff 3.88. So he's going to have to get out the elbows in the 2 races this weekend now.
if anyone can, Rob Huff can. He has done some quite exceptional races here at Macau, and not always from starting at the front of the field. He is a very, very determined driver around the streets of Macau, perhaps more determined than anyone else we've seen in a touring car.
The determination's going to be there now because he knows that he's coming in tomorrow with a big, big fight. Now, if anybody's up for a touring car fight, it's Rob. He knows exactly how to win in these cars. Very, very impressive driver. And Huffy clambers free of the Audi, but now he'll be frustrated, to say the least, about the championship situation at the end of qualifying, which is topped by Norbert Miklish from Mikael Ashkana, Jan Elaché third from Nestor Girolami, and then Rob Huff, Marshwing Ha in sixth from Fred Vervies, and John Filippi going nicely eighth ahead of Ted Bjork, and then Santiago Urrutia, Ben Baguana 11th, and the top 12 that made it into that shootout of Q2, Marco Butti with a damaged car as well, having clattered the wall, and then those that missed the cut form the remainder of the grid. But a really good lap by Norbert Miklish, and an all Hyundai front, 72,000 splitting the two of them, and around 6 kilometres of Macau. That's impressive stuff, isn't it?
Not much, is it? No, it's going to be a close one, this. It always is. But with the points on offer for the final meeting of the year for the Kumo TCR World Tour event of Macau, and also the huge prestige of being crowned the winner of the Macau Gear race here at Macau, well, the scene is set.
Fabio Romagnoli, the media delegate for the championship, just explaining to Rob Huff that he might be needed for press conferences or might be needed for photographs.
Stop touching me! Why are you touching me?
Very, very, very frustrated Rob Huff after that. That's a very un-Rob-like outburst.
Was a bit, wasn't it? He's not happy.
You can see how the pressure is on for the drivers this weekend, and when you arrive all hot and bothered after a qualifying session and it's not gone your way, then shows just how drivers can react if the stresses are starting to tell, especially when a championship is on the line.
You know what would add to the stress? If he was being told, we'd like you to come up to the press conference after something like that, that might have been something to do with the frustration. We're going to hear from Norbert Miklish down in pit lane.
I'm here with our pole sitter, Norbert Miklish. Tell me all about that session. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we had, I guess, worse sessions than Q2 today. The car was great yesterday. We did some fine-tuning on the setup, and to be honest, I was confident from the first moment. Of course, it's never easy to do a good lap without mistakes here in Macau, but with a car that I had today, I think it was possible. So looking forward to the race tomorrow.
Fantastic, Norbert, and obviously for the race tomorrow, pole position, feel you can convert this into a win and kickstart your championship charge?
No, in Macau, I mean, you want to start from the front because there is always trouble, especially braking for turn 3, but in the end, if you are in front and you manage to have a good start, you are in a good position to avoid carnage. And for me, that will be the target for tomorrow.
Fantastic, congratulations. Thank you very much, Norbert. And back to our commentators.
So there's your pole position driver then, Norbert Miklish, and great for him in terms of a starting position, great for him in terms of points as well at the end of the dramatic Kumo TCR World Tour event of Macau, qualifying for the Macau Gear race. So he's on, as I was saying, 398 points against the 392 of Jan Elaché, 388 now for a rather grumpy Rob Huff, ahead of Mikael Ashkana, 311, Nestor Girolami on 305, and Fred Vervies still sixth on 295. That is how we stand then going into the first of the two races, the qualifying race for the Gear race, but a standalone point scorer, of course, for the Kumo TCR World Tour. So a dramatic session. And as you see, the rest of the championship standings, plenty for the drivers to ponder before they hit the track again tomorrow at 10 minutes to 1 local time for the first of the two TCR World Tour races here this weekend in Macau. But it's a pretty happy Norbert Miklish, that is for sure.
We saw that I was behind, braking for turn 4. Yeah, he can let me pass 5 better races than this.
So we're going to have a look back at the highlights of qualifying for the Macau Gear race.